is introduce to you a student who is going to make a difference in the world. You know, we love to have our 3D printer, and when it came, the first things that we were able to print were chain links. We printed a saber-toothed tiger head. We printed stretchy bracelets. Most of those things were things that we felt like we needed to learn because they were already in the manual, and it was really easy as we were learning how to do them to try to replicate some of the simple things. But Evan Mark and Ethan Bottoms were two students that I met with in one of their technology classes, and I wanted to show them a video clip that we will turn on in a minute about a student in our Calcasieu parish that was making a difference not only in her schoolwork, but she was also making a wider difference because she was working on making a hand for people that had no hand. So all of us take it for granted that we have 2 hands and 2 feet, and generally, unless you've broken one or stumbled over something and you're on crutches or you're in a boot, they work really well. There are some students who do not have all 4 of these wonderful things that we take for granted. And if you can see on the screen, she was 9. Her name is Grace Culpepper, and she always wanted to do things to help people. And so instead of really making a helping hand, like loaning a pencil during a test or having a snack that you share, she's actually working with hands that are prosthetic pieces where a student might not have a hand. So when I talked to Evan and Ethan about this, they took it to a whole nother level. So I'm going to turn over the assembly now to Evan, who's going to talk to you about his work with the prosthetic hand that he is using our 3D printer to print.
This is a prosthetic hand called the Cyborg Beast. It's a very simple model. It doesn't have any of the tension system in it yet, which is what will keep it rigid and open and close the fingers. At the moment, I only have the hinges, so it's basically a limp hand. When I get the tension system in, it's going to hold the fingers like this. When you move the hand down, the fingers will compress, and when you bring them out, they will come out like this. So it goes on your hand like this. It's designed for me. If I didn't have a hand, I would have this little spot right here, and I would use it, the wrist movements, and that would help activate the hand and everything. It will have Velcro straps and padding and everything. It's very interesting.
Can you imagine first trying to figure out how to do that and put it together and have it fit your hand?
So I had to use this software called Tracker, which you put a picture in it, and I use a ruler. You take the measurements, you set the units, and then you get all the measurements. You take the pictures, you put it into a modeling software called Blender, which Ethan is using to model his hand over there. And you take this cube and you turn it into basically a flat image. Let's skip down here.
You can see how many steps it took, how many pictures it's gone through.
You have to use a scaling chart and set everything up. You have to bring the model of the hand in there to see whether or not it'll fit on your hand. And so that's how it works. Then, once you print it out with the correct scaling, you get all these parts. You take all these parts and you assemble the hinges. You have to drill all the holes out. You put the screws in, and the fingers will be able to move on around and around. And then right here, you can see they're threading all the cords through for the tension system. And these people are using a different tension system than I am. They're using the BOA tension system, whereas I'm just using a very simple one. If you can see right here, I'm gonna put on a couple of videos. So right here, these are a couple prints of the parts. As you can see, they're slowly being built up. It's really interesting. It's time-lapsed, of course. It doesn't go this fast. And I don't think there's anything that can go that fast at the moment. Okay, this is not. And so you can see they have opposable thumbs. It's an optional thing, the adjustable thumbs. They can use it, they can do very precise movements to pick things up. It's actually revolutionary considering that it only costs like $30. Whereas there are other prosthetics that cost 14 grand. It's really incredible, and I think that it's going to be great to have one of these to help people, well, live their life normally.
We're going to see, I asked Evan if he would talk to us today at lunch. So he just said okay, but he was not really excited about it because it's not in its finished work yet, where you can see how it is actually going to move and work. Ethan is also working on a hand, and it's a different one. He drew his on a sheet of paper over a weekend, and we went from there. So I want you to see at a later date, I'd love for you to see his as it begins to work. And what it means is this: the 3D printer is really, really neat, and it does great things. But as you can see, we can use it to make some of the things much more readily available that are either not affordable by many families, or bring people's lives to a whole new level, because their quality of life without a hand, think about it, if you did not have a hand, your quality of life would not nearly be the same as if you had something that you could pick up or at least hold a ball. Like when you pick up a basketball, a lot of times the first time you do that, of course, you have two hands to pick up lots of different things that you can't pick up with just one hand. And I know as you get older, well, you can do it with one hand, but I want you to be thinking about things that would make other people's lives better. And as you get a little bit older, I want you to be thinking about your creative ideas and how we can put them to work to really help mankind. The future of our whole world is at your feet, because you are so creative and you can think of wonderful things. Let's give Evan a big round of applause for the work he's doing.